She tried on multiple occasions since I moved out to use her son to guilt me into getting back with her. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Zone Stories. Today we have a story where this man took the high road when he found that he isn't biological father of both of his child. Let's see how this story ended. About a month ago, I found out both of my children were the results of my soon-to-be ex-wife's affairs. I've had a feeling for a while now that both of them were not mine. 6 years ago when my son was born, I was the happiest I had been in my entire life. I had married my best friend, we had a child together, and everything seemed amazing. That was until he started getting older. After a few years, I started to have doubts that he was actually mine. He did not look like my child. The more he started to grow, the more I realized just how different he looked compared to what I would expect a child of mine to look like. I am not petty or paranoid enough to let that alone drive me. It was my witch of a wife that really set my alarms off. Whenever she went out, she never went where she said she did. She would have huge holes in her schedule she could never explain to me. She would refuse to allow me to interact with anyone from her workplace, and a close friend of hers accused her of flirting with her significant other at the time. It did not help that soon after our son was born, her lies started to catch up with her. Still though, I loved her like the fool I was. She told me up and down how much she loved me whenever one of her lies caught up with her. She had convinced me that despite the fact she was a lying and manipulative woman, that she wasn't a lying manipulative witch. Last year, she got pregnant again, and I still held out a small bit of hope that it was mine. But when her daughter was born, it was obvious she was mixed race. I refused to sign the birth certificate, and the paternity test I demanded afterwards proved my suspicions right all along. Neither of them are mine. The day I got those test results were the day I filed for divorce from that witch and walked away from the family I had created. I knew that it would destroy her son's life to see me walk out. Despite my concerns, I was the best dad I could be to him. I loved him with all my heart and put in 110% into being the father he deserved. Now though, when I see him I am filled with disgust. Disgust for my witch of a wife, disgust with myself for not trusting my instincts, and disgust that the last 6 years on my life have been for nothing. I have been told by multiple people now that I am a monster for leaving my son like this. My ex has tried on multiple occasions since I moved out to use him to guilt me into getting back with her. She will have him call me at random hours of the night crying and begging for his daddy to come back. The day I moved out, she paraded him into the room as I packed my things to show me how much damage I am doing. In every conversation that he is brought up, both online and off, I am berated and shamed. That despite the fact I am not the boy's biological father, I am his dad. What I have sadly now realized is that, to most, my own feelings mean nothing. My parents are my only supporters through all this, with my own siblings calling me a despicable person for abandoning a child like that. My feelings of betrayal and sadness mean nothing, because a child is involved. I know it is not his fault. I know that the man he called his father for his entire life just walked away. But why am I expected to man up? Why should I have to pretend everything is fine? And I do not feel contempt for this entire situation. Why should I put my own life and feelings aside? I never was the boy's father. I loved him like one and honestly still do. But I would come to hate and contempt him if I had to play that role. Hate myself for not standing up and taking my own life back into my own hands. He is not my child, and even though it is not his fault, he is not my problem anymore. Edit, this post certainly blew up. Anyway, I've seen a few common questions so I'll just answer them here. 1. Her son knows the truth of why I left. I sat down and told him that I am not his father, and that his mother lied to me and cheated on me. I made it clear I am not mad at him, that it is not his fault this is happening, and no matter what I will still think he's an amazing kid. 2. Some are saying that I never loved him, or was always looking for a way out. It's hard to convey emotions in a text post like this, and even harder to allow vitriolic hatred towards your witch of a wife decontextualize the last 6 years of your life. You can believe what you want though. 3. I have a lawyer, and I'm not going to be paying child support or alimony. Last though, for those who say I should stay in her son's life and be his father, that's not realistically possible. I do not hate him, but I have been cheated on, lied to, and used by a vile self-centered witch who has now caught her children up in her lies and deceit. He is a casualty of her actions, and blameless. However, it can never change the fact of the harsh reality we find ourselves in. I don't hate him. I feel so sad when I think about how he feels. But all I see when I look at him is 6 years of my life I was lied to. 6 years of my life I was used. And 6 long years of built-up doubts and frustrations with a woman who used me. There is no putting aside my hatred to try and be in his life, because the life I lived with him was nothing more than a facade cultivated by his mother. This is the harsh reality I find myself dealing with, and I simply cannot in good faith put myself or him through it anymore. Edit 2. Since I am seeing many armchair lawyers in the comments saying this post is fake on grounds of what I said above, I will not reveal what state I live in. But I am currently going through a fun legal process called disestablishment of paternity. Won't shut up 90% of you who think Google makes you a lawyer, but at least I tried. Edit 3. This is going to be my last edit before I move on from this small little distraction I created for myself. First, I want to thank everyone for their kind words to me. In the comments, the DMs, and the chat. You have given me a bright day for the first time in a while. I wish I could reply to all of you, but I cannot thank you enough. Secondly, I have noticed many people criticizing the word I used very profusely to describe my soon-to-be ex. I want to just say, the place I am now is one of the darkest I have been in my life. I see nothing but white-hot rage for the woman who ruined my life. Is what I said inappropriate? Is the word I used to describe her dehumanizing and vile? Yes, I will admit that. But I won't apologize for it. What I wrote here today was the truth of the world as it is for me right now. It is the raw, unadulterated stream of consciousness of a flawed man. I do not intend to try and get people to hate women, or to push some misogynistic message about how women are terrible. That is not my goal here, and that is not the message of this post. I understand why people do not like the word I used here, and you know what, I accept that as a valid criticism of what I did here today. I came here today to simply find some outlet for the situation I find myself in. To rant, mourn, and deal with the complex and raw emotions that have torn me apart for the last month. A place where I can freely speak my mind. And you know what? I did that. Today was pretty alright thanks to you guys. Again, to everyone who showed me love and support, thank you from the bottom of my flawed heart. To those who came here disagreeing with me, but showed me respect, thank you as well. After the shame and ridicule I face in my real life, the respect you showed me despite your disagreement was nice. So long, and thanks for all the fish. I don't disagree with him. It's unfortunate for the boy, but that wasn't his doing. There is no reason he should be expected to give his life and his resources to raise another man's child. She can get the kid's actual father to do it. The kid belongs to his biological father. If anyone owes the kid an explanation, it's the mom. She needs to woman up. She needs to say, I messed up and I made him go away because I made you with another man. That's not your real dad, and that's why he's going away. He wants to be your real dad, but he can't because it's impossible because I messed up. And he loves you very much, but he'll always be heartbroken that he can never be your real father in my dreams, right? But as a woman, I want to stress to you that this is not your fault. I want to stress to you that your instinct is right, that it is better to leave, especially knowing you feel disgusted around him and don't see that changing. They can feel that whether you say it or not. I want you to treat yourself like a woman who is making the decision to terminate a child that resulted from assault. It is not your fault. You and the child are victims of the horrible actions of another. If this child stays, you feel you will always see your assailant and not the child for what or who the child is. You are correct to keep those feelings away from the child. Trust your gut. You owe nobody any explanation. You owe nobody any apology. You are the victim, and it is the assailant's responsibility to fix the consequences of this stuff, not you. Get a restraining order so she can no longer harass you with manipulative calls. Go to a support group for yourself and so you don't feel alone. I wish you a healing journey and hope this helps. I am so sorry for your loss. Mourn as you must, heal as you must, do what you must for you. I have been with my husband Mike for over 30 years, married for 26. We have 3 teens. Mike coaches my kids' team and is amazing at it. The kids love him. In 2017, single mom Amy has a son that joined the team. Over the season, Mike mentioned Amy a few times. He spoke of how she dances. I was given the impression it was Russian folk dancing, and did yoga aerobics. I was kind of like, what? Why is she telling you this? And got an excuse about how he shared with her that I took belly dancing classes, and it was harmless because I would come up in these conversations. He did admit it was mildly flirty banter. By summer 2018, her kid left league, so no more Amy. September 2020, I saw a brief text exchange. Amy asked about the upcoming season for the team because of COVID. She said that she's still dancing as it keeps her strong and attractive, and it would be nice to be back with favorite coach. Winking and hug emoji. No responses from Mike as they seemed to be deleted. I asked about this. He didn't have an explanation but brushed it off as nothing. I dropped it as the season was cancelled, so no further need for contact with her. Seemed to be the end of it. Amy's son never returned to his team. July 2022, Mike randomly mentions Amy a couple of times. I'm confused why, as I was not aware of any contact, but learned her folk dancing was actually pole dancing. A week or so later, for an unrelated reason, I looked at Mike's newish Instagram account. I saw he reached out to Amy, admiring her dancing and her videos of it and saying he lost her cell number. This exchange was brief and did not appear to have anything deleted. She replied that her number must have been deleted because of a conspiracy from your wife. She invites him to drive by. Mike responded that I like her videos too, falsely giving the impression I'd seen them. Both suggest that I should try her class. After that, nothing. I sat on this for 2 months because I started snooping. Mike has a history of avoiding confrontation and trickle truths, but no further contact. September 2022, I was on Mike's phone with his knowledge. I stumbled across the July conversation and inquired. Mike danced around it, not remembering why he reached out. I backed off. I knew it would go nowhere, so I'd keep snooping. Nothing came of it though. I hated doing it and it got me nowhere. November 2022. I decided I needed to have a talk with him as the snooping revealed nothing, but I never addressed my initial concerns. I wrote him a letter admitting to the snooping, my unease with this woman since 2017, 2020 in July, and my overall insecurities. November 24th, I gave him the letter. He reads, immediately answered a bunch of the questions, gives reassurance he has no attraction to her, admits he found her attention to be an ego boost, was so sorry about his interactions with someone he had no interest in other than as a parent from the team, and wasn't upset for my snooping, but he did have to admit something. He said they had contact again. Couldn't remember when or who initiated. Amy asked for a favor, which was to enlarge and print photos, his actual job with an employer, not our business, she had of herself. He's done freebies before for friends, family. He said yes, was sent photos and did it. When he contacted her to arrange a drop-off, she gave him the runaround. After a couple of attempts, he gave up and threw away photos. He admitted that maybe she was just screwing with him, but he was indifferent about it. He said photos were great shots of her in various poses. A few days later, I asked about how and when the photos were sent. This led to realizing he still had email with photos for previous 8 months. He used our small business's email to receive photos to hide it. He deleted the email and changed email password after I asked about it. I freaked. He then restored email. The email had no exchange other than a thank you from Amy. I saw photos. There were dirty pictures with a scarf draped over her stuff. Not raunchy, professionally taken, like boudoir photos, artsy. But definitely dirty, definitely sensual. All texts they had were deleted. Through my snooping, I realized he deleted her from his contact list sometime between March and July. Mike is a contact hoarder. He keeps everyone's number for work, team, small business, just in case. It's not typical for him to delete. I asked why. He had no reason. Was she playing him with no intention to collect them? Did he call her bluff and she chickened out on getting them, never thinking he'd follow through? Did he say something creepy enough that she was uncomfortable to get them? He downplayed this occurrence yet completely removed her as a contact. Maybe he felt burned, embarrassed or nervous about what he said, or hurt, but not indifferent like he claims. I'm trying to make sense of this. Mike has been tripping over himself to try to make me whole again. He understands that I worry there's more to it. He constantly reassures me. But what he actually did, what he admits to, I don't think he sees it as cheating or infidelity. I'm not sure either. I'm hurt. My self-esteem, self-worth, confidence is shot. I'm so angry, yet I was so relieved it wasn't more. I feel stupid, pathetic. I don't know what this is, what to call it. An indiscretion, cheating. Am I an idiot because dozens of stories here are so much worse than mine? And here I am boohooing about it. I'm so sorry if it's insensitive to post here. We've been together over 30 years. Our life is amazing, quality and quantity. We have fun together. We've had our ups and downs, but have grown closer than ever before this. We always had great chemistry. I've loved him since I was young. It's been 6 weeks and I'm sad, hopeless. I know this is a betrayal. Trust has been damaged. I worry about what else I don't know about and what could happen in the future. I'm too old for this. I'm in individual counseling, but I don't feel like it's helping. What do I do? Best advice I could give her, go with her gut. There's so much more than what he's telling her. It's not my intention to hurt her, just being honest. I would be very surprised if they haven't had bedroom activity. I'm sorry, I know that's the last thing she'd want to hear, but seems like it was a full-blown affair, maybe off and on. She could make it seem like she knows everything. She found pictures, she knows about the affair, and he's blaming everything on her.